Hey everybody, we're going to talk about the story of Deborah today. That's in the Old Testament. It's in the book of Judges. And Deborah is one of the judges we read about in the Bible. Let's go ahead and listen to this story. Deborah was a woman who read and obeyed God's laws. People came to her for help and advice. This story is found in the Bible in the book of Judges. After bad King Jabin invaded the land of Israel, his captain, Sisera, was mean and treated people like slaves. "What can we do to be free?" the people would ask wise Deborah. Deborah prayed, asking God for help. "Take 10,000 men to fight Sisera," she told Barak, the leader of the army. "God will help you to win." But Barak was scared and didn't trust God. "Sisera has 900 strong war chariots, and he hasn't lost a war for 20 years. I will only go if you come too," he said. "God will use a woman to defeat Sisera," said Deborah. Barak and the people of Israel fought Sisera's army all day. God sent rain, and the enemy chariots got stuck in the mud. Deborah, Barak, and their soldiers were winning, but before they could catch Sisera, he quietly snuck away and escaped. A woman called Jael was alone in her tent nearby. She saw Sisera coming and prayed for help. Then she invited Sisera inside her tent to hide. He was tired and thirsty. "I will make a bed for you to rest," she said. Sisera didn't know that she was tricking him. After drinking a glass of milk, he lay down and went to sleep. She crept over to sleeping Sisera, hit him over the head with a tent peg, and killed the big, tough enemy commander. Just as God had promised, a woman saved the people of Israel from their enemies. So this is a really interesting story about God showing his wisdom and his truth through a person. And that person is Deborah. She is one of the judges and a prophet from the Old Testament, who are people who hear from God and act out God's wishes and words in the world. So Deborah is the only woman judge that is in the Bible, which is really interesting and sometimes makes her story a little bit more powerful for us to hear. So Deborah was a really faithful person, and from that we can learn to be obedient to God, following God's laws and what we hear from God and what we see from God in our daily lives, and following our path as God has put it out for us, and not fighting God when he pulls us in new directions, which is another thing that we can learn from Deborah, is that we have to be courageous. Sometimes just staying in our comfort zone isn't going to get us anywhere. Deborah really moved out of her comfort zone when she went to fight with everybody, because that wasn't what she did at all. So she really had to move out of her comfort zone for that. And another thing we can learn from Deborah is to stand strong in our faith, and that God will be behind us as we proclaim his word and what he wants in the world. Even though that's not always going to be easy, we know God is with us on that road, and that he will guide us through it. So those are the things that we can learn from Deborah's story. So our craft today isn't maybe directly from the story, but I want you to think about what you saw in the pictures. In the early beginning of the story, what was Deborah under? Do you remember? It was a really little detail from the pictures. Let's write a palm tree. So we're going to make a palm tree craft today, because it didn't say directly in the story, but in the Bible we know Deborah often preached and did things for God under a palm tree. For this craft, you're going to want a piece of brown paper, a couple pieces of green paper, something to write with, scissors, and a glue stick. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a tree trunk on my brown paper. I want it to be bigger at the top and smaller at the bottom. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut that out. So there is the trunk of my palm tree. Then I'm going to take my 2 sheets of green paper, and I'm going to fold them in half together. And then I'm going to put my hand on the green paper, and I'm going to go ahead and trace my hand. My hand almost doesn't fit on this folded paper, but your guys' is being a little bit smaller than mine probably should. So there is my hand, and then I'm going to go ahead and cut that out. onions am I going to have? Remember, I had 2 sheets of paper, and I folded them in half. Any ideas? That's right, there's going to be 4. So going to be 2 from each of my sheets of paper. Now I'm going to take some glue, and I'm going to glue my palms onto my palm trees. So I'm going to make them pointing all sorts of different directions. And I'll put some more glue in the middle, and I'm going to finish it off by putting a couple more facing up. And then I'm going to finish off my tree with a Bible verse. I'm going to put, "For the Lord gives wisdom, from his mouth came knowledge, and understanding." And that's Proverbs 2:6. So I hope you had a great time making your craft this week. I hope you have a great week, and I'll see you on Sunday. Bye!